Senator Cory Booker never expected that the voice message he received at 3:47 a.m. would expose the most dangerous weapons trafficking operation in Pentagon history. The terrified whisper on the other end said, "They're selling death to the highest bidder, and I have proof, but if I talk, I'm dead by morning." On a cold February night in Washington, D.C., Senator Cory Booker's phone began to vibrate. The screen displayed "unknown number." Under normal circumstances, he never answered such late-night calls, but the intelligence reports he'd been receiving lately had made him uneasy. Rumors about strange movements within the Pentagon had reached his ears. "Hello?" he said hesitantly. The voice from the other end was so shaky and frightened that he couldn't initially tell if it was a man or woman. "Senator Booker, my name is Dr. Emily Rodriguez. I work in the Biomedical Research Division at the Pentagon. Used to work. I had to reach you because I can't trust anyone anymore." Booker immediately focused his attention. Years in politics had taught him to distinguish between genuine panic and artificial drama. This voice carried real fear. "Dr. Rodriguez, please calm down. What happened?" "Today? No, yesterday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Yesterday I attended a routine meeting at the Pentagon. It was supposed to be a briefing about medical supplies at overseas military bases, but I was wrong, so very wrong." Emily's voice was trembling more. Booker gripped the phone tighter. "I arrived early to the meeting room. The microphones were on, but no one noticed. I was sitting in the corner, taking notes. Then they came in." "Who came in, Dr. Rodriguez?" "General William Harrison, Deputy Defense Secretary Marcus Thompson, and someone else. Someone I didn't recognize, but who must be very powerful, because the generals called him sir." Booker picked up a pen and began taking notes. These names sounded familiar. What did they discuss? Emily's voice dropped even lower, as if she feared someone might hear. "Weapons sales, but not the legal kind. They were selling weapons to countries America considers enemies, to terrorist groups, even to regions where they're trying to start civil wars. They were talking about billions of dollars." Booker dropped his pen. "Are you certain about this?" "There's a recording. I recorded it with my iPhone, but now they know." After the meeting, my phone rang, an unknown number. They used a voice modifier. They said, "You heard some very interesting things today, Dr. Rodriguez. We hope you'll be smart about this." Booker's blood ran cold. This was no longer an ordinary tip. "Where are you right now?" "I don't know. I panicked, jumped in my car, and ran. I'm at a gas station in Virginia right now. But it won't be long before they find me, Senator. The recording I have is real, and it's part of something much bigger." "What do you mean?" "In the recording, they talk about Operation Iron Eagle. This isn't just weapons sales. It's a project to reshape global geopolitics. They destabilize countries, then sell weapons to both sides while positioning themselves as peacekeepers. They're making money and gaining power simultaneously." Booker was in shock. If these claims were true, everything he knew about America's foreign policy was a lie. "Dr. Rodriguez, listen to me. We're going straight to the FBI. We'll put you under protection and—" "No." Emily's scream echoed through the phone. "We can't trust the FBI. General Harrison said during the meeting that they have people inside the FBI, in the Justice Department too. This network runs deep." Booker took a deep breath. Throughout his political career, he'd had to deal with conspiracy theories, but this felt different. This felt very real. "So how can I help you? The recording needs to reach you. But safely. If they catch me, the recording disappears too, and so do I." Booker immediately sprang into action. He called his trusted former CIA agent, Robert Mitchell. Mitchell now worked for a private security company and was experienced in these types of sensitive operations. "Rob, I have an urgent situation. I need to get a whistleblower to a safe location." "Cory, at this hour? How serious is this?" "Pentagon level. And deadly." Mitchell's voice immediately became serious. "All right, where is she right now?" Booker tried calling Emily again, but her phone was off. His heart began to race. Was it too late? Had they caught Emily? At 4:15, the phone rang. This time, Emily's voice was even more frightened. "They're following me. 3 different cars. They're moving in coordination." "Where are you?" "I'm heading south on Interstate 95, but I'm running out of gas and they're getting closer." Booker quickly gave her an address. "Go to the metro station in Arlington. Rob will be there. Black SUV, license plate TX8847. He'll transport you to a safe place." "What about the recording?" "We'll rescue that too. Right now, you just need to stay alive." The line went dead. Booker called Mitchell and explained the situation. Mitchell immediately went into action. At 5:30, Mitchell called. "Cory, I have bad news. When I arrived at the metro station, I couldn't locate Dr. Rodriguez, but there were blood traces, and I found her phone. It was in smashed condition." Booker's world collapsed around him. "Is Emily dead?" "I don't know. The blood wasn't excessive. Maybe they just injured and abducted her. But Cory, there's something else here." "What is it?" "I examined Emily's phone. The SIM card was removed, but the memory card is still here, and the recording is on it." Booker let out a deep sigh of relief. At least the evidence had been rescued. "Is the recording real?" "I haven't listened to it yet, but the file size and format look authentic." "Cory, this is big. If Emily was telling the truth, we have evidence of the biggest scandal in Pentagon history." Mitchell began examining the recordings at the safe house. Booker sat beside him, anxiously waiting for every word. When the first recording began to play, the atmosphere in the room became so intense that breathing seemed impossible. General Harrison's voice could be heard clearly. "It's time to transition to the 3rd phase of Operation Iron Eagle. We need to rebuild the balances in the Middle East." Another voice, younger and excited. "General, the last shipment reached the groups in Syria. $50 million worth of weapons. In the official records, it appears to be going to Poland." Harrison: "Good. How is the Africa operation progressing?" A third voice, older and reflecting authority: "The weapons necessary for the civil war we're trying to trigger in the Democratic Republic of Congo are ready. We'll sell to both the government and the rebels. The longer the war lasts, the more we earn." Booker was frozen. If this conversation was real, America's foreign policy was completely manipulative. The recording continued. Harrison: "What's the status of those curious senators in Congress?" "Booker is especially creating problems." The older voice: "Booker is under control. We'll soon send him a message in a language he'll understand, just like we started with Dr. Rodriguez." Booker's blood froze. So what happened to Emily wasn't a coincidence, and now he was also a target. Mitchell paused the recording. "Cory, this is real. I did voice analysis. These aren't fake. There really is such a group within the Pentagon, and you're now on their list too."
What should we do? You have 2 options. Either you'll stay silent and behave as if nothing happened, or you'll share these recordings with the public. But if you choose the second option, the same thing that happened to Emily could happen to you. Booker thought long and hard. Throughout his political career, he'd made tough decisions, but this was the toughest. But then he remembered Emily's frightened voice. This woman had risked her life for telling the truth. Now it was his turn. "We'll release the recordings, but first we need to collect more evidence." In the following days, Booker and Mitchell began systematically gathering information about Operation Iron Eagle. Emily's recordings were just the beginning. Thanks to Mitchell's former CIA connections, they learned how extensive the operation was. Iron Eagle was a secret project launched in 2018. Its goal was to control the global weapons market and change geopolitical balances in America's favor. But this was accomplished not through legal methods, but by creating chaos. Mitchell showed financial records obtained from a contact. "Look at this, Cory. This chain of shell companies. They're all connected to the Iron Eagle operation. In the last 3 years, they've made $18 billion in illegal weapons sales." "To which countries?"
Iran officially has a weapons embargo, but here's a $2.5 billion sale. They've sold weapons to all the fighting groups in Syria simultaneously, even to drug cartels in South America. Booker was shocked as he saw the names in the documents. Senators, generals, even some ambassadors he recognized were part of this network. Rob, how can these people execute something like this? Money and power, Cory. This operation has earned $18 billion from weapons sales alone, but the real gain is geopolitical control, dragging countries into chaos, then intervening as saviors. The most shocking discovery was that the operation was active not only in foreign countries, but also inside America. The records mentioned domestic operations. They had discovered another recording featuring the older voice. The internal security branch of the operation is also important. Disturbing senators, journalists, activists, they all need to be silenced. Dr. Rodriguez was a good example. The message was delivered clearly. Harrison, what's Booker's condition? Older voice, he hasn't taken action yet. Maybe he received the message, but we're monitoring him closely.
While listening to these recordings, Booker's hands were shaking. He didn't yet know what they had done to Emily, but he was certain it was very bad.
Rob, we need to locate Emily.
Cory, she's probably dead. In these types of operations, they don't leave witnesses.
But we don't know for certain. If she's still alive, we need to rescue her.
Mitchell took a deep breath.
Okay, but it will be very risky. And we need to do this before we publish these recordings. Because once the recordings are published, we won't have a chance to rescue them.
As a result of Mitchell's research, they learned that Dr. Emily Rodriguez was being held at a secret facility in West Virginia. The facility was officially registered as a research center, but was actually one of the headquarters of the Iron Eagle operation.
Cory, this is very dangerous. That place is protected at military level.
We don't have an alternative choice, Rob. Emily is our only witness. Without her, I'm not sure these recordings alone will be sufficient.
Mitchell called two more of his former team members. David Kim and Lisa Parker were both former Special Forces members currently working in the private security sector.
HR, are you paying for this operation, Cory?
Kim asked.
This isn't about money, David. We're doing this for this country's future.
Parker looked at the map.
The facility is quite large, but the security cameras have blind spots. If we execute a night operation, we can locate and extract Emily.
The operation started at 2 a.m. that night. Mitchell and his team infiltrated the facility while Booker waited at a safe distance. Hours passed without any news. At 5 a.m., Mitchell called.
Cory, we located Emily, but her condition is bad.
Is she alive?
Yes, but very weak. We're transporting her to the hospital. But Cory, there are other things we discovered. This facility isn't just for Iron Eagle. It's the headquarters for much more extensive operations.
What do you mean?
There are at least 25 different whistleblowers being held here. Journalists, former CIA agents, military personnel, all have somehow attempted to expose these types of operations and were captured.
Booker's blood froze. So Emily was just the visible part of the iceberg. While Emily Rodriguez was receiving treatment and intensive care at the hospital, Booker finally made his big decision. He would share all the recordings, documents, and additional evidence that Mitchell had discovered at the facility with the public. Cory, have you considered the consequences of this? Mitchell asked. Yes, I have considered them, but if I don't do this, Emily's sacrifice will be wasted, and the Iron Eagle operation will continue to expand. Booker organized a press conference. He presented the Pentagon recordings, financial documents, and Emily's testimony. It had a bombshell effect in the media. The Iron Eagle scandal became America's biggest political crisis in recent years. General Harrison and other senior officials were forced to resign. The Justice Department started a comprehensive investigation, but Booker knew this was just the beginning. Operations like Iron Eagle would just go deeper, become more careful. When Emily Rodriguez was discharged from the hospital, she visited Booker. "Senator, thank you for what you did. But you know, don't you, that this is just the beginning. They'll adapt, become more careful. But at least now people are aware that such operations exist." Booker nodded. This battle had been won, but the war would continue. "Emily, you showed courage, and now other potential whistleblowers know they're not alone. Truth always finds a way." Months later, Emily Rodriguez testified before Congress. Her words completely exposed the Iron Eagle scandal and led to the creation of new legislation to prevent similar operations. In every speech, Booker would mention Emily's story. It was proof that one person's courage could change an entire system. But Emily always reminded, speaking truth isn't easy. You have to pay a price. But silence is more expensive, because silence causes the death of innocent people. And so, that phone call at 3:47 transformed into one of America's biggest political scandals. It proved that sometimes one scared voice shouting in the darkness can illuminate the entire world. The whistleblower's dilemma wasn't resolved. Speak up and risk everything, or stay silent and be complicit in injustice. But Emily Rodriguez and Cory Booker demonstrated that the right choice is always the choice that requires courage. Truth spoke, justice prevailed, and America became one step closer to transparent governance.